Today, we are attempting to walk across the entire island of Manhattan, starting here in Inwood Hill Park, making our way south to Battery Park.
Now this walk from the northernmost point of the island all the way to the southern tip is about 12 miles. And Google Maps estimates that's going to take us about 5 hours, but we're going to make it a little bit longer. We have some stops along the way to make it more fun. Our goal for the day though is to get to Battery Park by sunset so we can finish this off with amazing views of Lady Liberty and the orange sky behind her.
Seeing the Statue of Liberty has really given me a new sense of power to finish these last, what, 30 blocks? 40?
Yeah, roughly, yeah. So this waterway right behind us, this is actually where the Hudson River feeds into the Harlem River, which separates Manhattan and the Bronx. Now I have never been this far north in Manhattan. The northernmost point. So I think a big key to our strategy today is trying to walk through as many parks as we can, because when you're in the park, you don't have to worry about getting held up at crosswalks, and that can definitely cut into our time. So we're here at Inwood Hill Park, and we're gonna be seeing a few more parks along the way. The origin story of this island is honestly one of the greatest real estate deals probably ever made in history. The Manhattan Purchase, made by Peter Minuit, a Dutchman, in 1626. He purchased the island of Manhattan from the local Native American tribe for what we estimate to be around $50. In today's term, probably around $1,000. Nowadays, the real estate value of Manhattan is in the trillions, and it's actually level with the entire GDP of the country of Canada. And no, I'm not picking on Canada. Canada is actually one of the largest economies in the world. It's in the top 10. That just goes to show the power and the influence of this island. And it is really crazy to think the original purchase was made all the way back in 1626 for what's estimated to be around $50 worth of Dutch trinkets. And it was originally owned by the Dutch. It actually was first called New Amsterdam before it was called New York. And the even crazier thing to imagine too is that New York City is more than just Manhattan. It's also Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. But the island of Manhattan itself, trillions of dollars worth of real estate. So there's a little fun fact for you this morning. Sydney's giving me the eyes.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're still on mile number 1, so we've got to buckle down, make some progress.
We're coming up on 194th, and we got to get all the way down past the numbers. So that cool tower that you can see on top of that hill, that's known as the Met Cloisters. It's actually an old French monastery that overlooks the Hudson River. They've converted it into kind of an art museum now. You can go in and see all these really significant religious paintings and just the structure in general. It's amazing architecture from what it looks like. It looks a lot more like what we were used to seeing back in Europe. But the only thing is that it costs $35 to get in there. We were gonna make this one of our stops along the way, but for that price, we could go to the top of the Empire State Building. I mean, that's a little steep in my opinion, but pretty cool to see it up at the end of the hill there. Okay, we're checking in for a quick update. We've made quite a lot of progress. We're all the way up at 143rd between Riverside Drive and Broadway. We've mostly made our way down Broadway. We wanted to cut down to see the river a little bit, but until you actually go to what's actually a state park, you can't really see much of it. So we're gonna go back up to the street. We've already made it through the neighborhoods of Inwood and Washington Heights. We're just coming up on between West Harlem and Manhattanville, and in about 25 blocks, we'll make our first real stop. The one thing I can say for sure is that my words before bit me in the butt, because I talked about how Manhattan's not hilly, it's so flat. And for the most part it is when you're in like Midtown and then the lower side, but there's something about this northwest corner that's actually quite hilly. We've been on basically a gradual incline for the last 10 to 15 blocks and we're feeling it. So I take that back. It's not all of Manhattan that's flat, just the parts I've been to. Welcome to the beautiful campus of Columbia University. This is an Ivy League school. It's really, really hard to get into, way out of our leagues, but it's fun to just walk around. It's completely open to the public. So if you are in this far Upper West Side area of Manhattan, it's definitely worth checking out. And it's also a good way to kind of escape the buzz of the city. As soon as you enter the campus, it just becomes a lot quieter, a lot more calm. But then you can walk right out there and New York City's at your fingertips. I feel like it'd be a really fun place to go to school. And just to give you a little idea of the grandeur of this university, this amazing Roman-looking structure right behind me, this is the library. This is where you can just go to study. The architecture around this campus is really beautiful, and it's just a fun place for a walk. Now, if I had to estimate the progress of our journey, I think we're probably around 30% complete. And there are parts where it's gonna go faster because of the parks rather than the city blocks. But we're starting to feel it a little bit. I wasn't expecting that hill. I think we're a little hungry at this point. We need some energy. We still have a long way to go. All of these benches we're passing are so tempting to just sit down for a second, but we gotta have a little pep in our step. We're falling behind a little bit. It's all about making forward progress. We've felt that for sure already. There's so many things that you want to stop and look at and take pictures of and videos, but we have about 4 hours of daylight left. We're up here on 115th or so, and it goes past the number. So once we get to First Street, we have to keep going a little bit. But like I said, we'll have a few shortcuts that are gonna help us out a little bit. And please, no more hills. So this is another place we considered stopping. This is modeled after the Seinfeld restaurant, Tom's Restaurant, on 112th and Broadway. But we don't have time for a sit down right now. We got 3 bagels, 2 savory, 1 sweet to share. As we're waiting, just a few fun facts about Absolute Bagels. They've been open for decades, one of the most popular places in the entire city. Usually there's a line around the block, so we got really lucky coming in the middle of the day. We walked right up there, waited maybe 5 minutes. It can get up to like an hour wait. And I don't know how people have time for that in their day. Thank you.
Thank you.
So here's our masterpiece. We're gonna go find a place to eat it. Just a classic New York bagel in the middle of Broadway. This feels so right. Those 3 bagels did not last long. We definitely needed that. And I don't think it's just because I'm hungry. I've been here a few times. I think Absolute Bagels is the best bagel in New York City. We did Russ and Daughters for our food tour, and we also have a place called the Bagel Shop near us. Both of them fantastic. If you're looking for that salmon lox, like the traditional Nova Scotia salmon, Russ and Daughters is the place to go to. But just for a smear of cream cheese and a bagel itself, Absolute Bagels, hard to beat, baby. I am still buzzing on that bagel, wow. I think it's the cream cheese, I really do. You can find a bagel itself of that quality anywhere in the city, but that cream cheese, there's something, they put some magic in there.
We're finally crossing the double digits.
It is so funny to be on 99th Street, 120 blocks into this challenge, and I still feel like I'm way north. I feel like this is North Manhattan. I never knew about this little peninsula that goes out there, so the walk is actually a lot longer than it seems. It's a little deceiving, but I feel like I'm in normal Manhattan now. Like I know this is the Upper West Side, and we know that Central Park is over to the west now. We finally made it that far to the north side of Central Park. As the clock tower behind me is striking 3 o'clock, we have about 3 hours of sunlight left. 99th, and we're still on Broadway. We've been on Broadway for quite a while. And this is the Broadway, the one that could, in theory, take us all the way down to the financial district. But we're gonna make it a little more interesting. Let's go over to Central Park.
We have now entered Central Park, and I am so excited to escape the noise, even for a little while. I think all the honking and the people and the trash and everything we've seen thus far today, it's getting to me a little bit. So we're here to enjoy a peaceful walk, still making our progress south, and hopefully in the straightest line possible.
Columbus Circle, the gateway to Midtown.
We just saw a street sign for 58th. You just kind of have to be aggressive with these crosswalks. Everyone jaywalks here.
Oh,
just such a contrast to what we saw in Europe. We were kind of timid at first, but now that we've been here for a week and a half, we're jaywalking anytime we get the chance.
It's so funny, like when we were in Germany, if you jaywalk, you get dirty looks. And if you're unlucky, you might get a ticket. They're that serious about jaywalking there. Here, if you don't jaywalk, people give you a dirty look. They're like,
so
what, you tourists, what are you doing? Across the street, there's no cars coming. So we're still on Broadway. And like I said earlier, we could honestly take Broadway all the way down. We're not gonna do that, but we've been on Broadway a lot today. And we're coming up on the center of New York tourism.
We've also been passing so many subway stations here on Broadway.
Oh my God, so many.
We could have easily hopped on one, but we did not. We have come this far, we're gonna see it through.
Every time we saw a subway stop, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, you're just thinking in your head like, how much time could I have saved just hopping on that train? But the theme of the day, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Right on.
Gotta stay.
Bogs are darking. The bogs are darking. The dogs are barking. Oh my gosh.
Can't even talk. That's how tired we are.
I've noticed my stride is so much smaller than this morning, and oh my god.
Gotta stay loose.
Okay.
So you're just entering Times Square. Literal hell on earth for some people. Some people love the spectacle of it, and it is amazing to see just all the billboards, all the lights. This truly feels like the center of capitalism. There's just so many advertisements and signs and billboards and people trying to get you into their shops, people trying to get you to take their tours. It's a lot, and it's probably like one of the last places we want to be in our tired, exhausted state. But we're gonna power right through Times Square, then we're gonna cut through Hell's Kitchen on the way to Hudson Yards.
Now, I despise crowds, so this isn't particularly my piece of heaven, but I do love seeing all the advertisements and all the lights on the billboards. It's really a spectacle.
It didn't take long for us to go from, oh, this is pretty cool, to get us out of here. Just way too many people and so many people trying to sell you things, and it's just not where you want to be.
I respect people hustling, but like, don't touch me, don't get in my face, and accept no when I say no.
Yeah, no is not accepted here. But you do hear stories about like so many tourists that come to New York and barely leave Times Square. It's like there's so much more to the city than Times Square. And most people that live here don't even come here.
It's just not as nice.
It's just not as nice.
All the time.
We're coming over to 9th Avenue, so this is the neighborhood of Hell's Kitchen. And there's a lot of really good restaurants over here. A lot of times if people are going to see a Broadway show, they'll come to Hell's Kitchen first for dinner because they're very accustomed to getting people in and out in time for the show. But yeah, it's just a little calmer over here, though still New York, clearly.
Still New York.
We've made it to the brand new development of Hudson Yards. Right behind me is the Vessel. Unfortunately, it's closed for a while. I don't know why, but as you can see, it's just a bunch of staircases and escalators. It looks really cool to be in that thing and just see all of the crazy designs within. Hudson Yards is also the location of The Edge, which is one of the new observatory decks here. We have considered going up there for sunset because we're really getting close on sunset now. But it's $40 each. We can find a better place for free. We had another minor bathroom emergency, maybe not so minor actually. So we hopped in the mall over here and took care of that. And now we're gonna head to the High Line. The High Line, without a doubt, is one of our favorite things in the city. It's literally an elevated park space. It used to be an old train line when they had the elevated trains down here. The elevated train tracks were abandoned basically and just completely out of use. And then they just decided to make it into a park space, and it's really beautiful because it cuts through the neighborhood of Chelsea, which has a lot of really cool buildings, and then feeds off right into the meatpacking district, which used to be where all the meatpacking factories were. Nowadays, it's where the clubs are. All those big warehouse buildings, perfect for a dance club. But it's a great way to get through Chelsea and not have to stop at the intersections. It goes all the way up to Hudson Yards. So if you're going to the Vessel, going to the Edge, it's a great way to get there, and it's an attraction in itself. The bad news is that we're not going to make it to Battery Park by sunset. Definitely took longer than we expected to get here. The good news is that we can already see the Statue of Liberty, and I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the real one in the distance. So we did get a glimpse of Lady Liberty with some pink skies. The other bad news is that we kind of have a cloudy day, so we didn't get a full sunset effect. But hey, we got our shot right here on the High Line. But we are going to finish this walk in the dark, that's for sure. I know we have a little bit longer to go, but we're seeing the Jersey City skyline. We know that we're getting close. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really inspired. I think seeing the Statue of Liberty has really given me a new sense of power to finish these last, 30 blocks? 40?
Yeah, roughly, yeah. We're getting towards the end of the High Line, then we're gonna hop over to Pier 45, which goes out into the Hudson River, and hopefully still get some of these colors, because this ended up being a beautiful sunset. I wasn't expecting that. But it is a relief, like Sydney said, seeing the Statue of Liberty, you can see Jersey City on this side. We're almost there. Now that we're in the village, walking through the cobblestone streets, it's really starting to hit me. I mean, if you're on the Upper East Side and you're coming down here, it might take like 35 to 40 minutes on the subway. We were way more north than that, and we have just been walking. We're definitely feeling it. It's been a long day, but I guess kind of the mystique of what we've done is starting to hit me as we're about 40 minutes away from Battery Park. Like, we're gonna do this thing, and I want to touch the rail looking out at the Statue of Liberty, because that means from tip to tip we walked the entire island of Manhattan. This is such a beautiful island. There's so many different neighborhoods. It's so diverse. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. So many interesting people that you encounter. If you're gonna pick an island to walk across, this is definitely a good choice. We've made our way over to the Hudson River Walkway on the other side of the West Street Highway, and this is so gorgeous, especially at night. I'm actually really happy that this ended up being at night, because the city lights of downtown, the World Trade Center, and then also seeing Jersey City across the river, it just looks like one giant city, and all the lights are sparkling so bright. Our legs are screaming. Our feet in particular are screaming right now. The dogs are barking, as they say. And we are pretty much ready for this to be over, but at the same time, we're just taking in the beauty of the city. It's so crazy that you go all the way 12 miles to the north, and it still feels like a big city up there, and then you come all the way down here. The scale of the city will never cease to amaze me. I've never really considered living in New York long term, but to be here for like a year or so would be an absolute dream. We are so close to the end. We're just coming up on the last few blocks of Battery Park City. You can see One World Trade behind us. We're on the other side, and Battery Park is in sight. We definitely are over walking right now. And I think kind of the theme of today was just that it ended up being a lot more difficult than we were expecting, but that also was kind of the fun of it. Like, I feel really proud of what we did today.
Yeah, and today was such a physical challenge, but it was even more so a mental one. I'm so happy we flexed our what's it called? Oh, I'm so happy we flexed our mental toughness today. because oh boy, did my mind tell me some crazy things during this journey, but once you settle it down, you believe, and you can achieve.
Very inspiring. Oh my goodness. Just truly amazed by this city, and again, the fact that Manhattan is the main part of the city. It's not the entire city. There's so much more to it. And I truly feel like you could live here for years and years and still have so much to explore. But I definitely feel like I know the city better now than I did even this morning. And again, it's not the 12 miles. I feel like if you walk 12 miles in a straight line, it's a long ways, but it's not like overbearing. But when you walk through New York City and just all of the energy that takes, and we're basically running on a bagel and a half and some waters, it's gonna be very welcome to just take a load off and have some food. But we gotta touch the end of the island.
We've made it to the very end. This is the last road.
The last crosswalk. You can see the Statue of Liberty in the distance. This is the tip of Manhattan Island. Oh, we did it. I feel so good. Our target time was 7 hours. It ended up being about 7.5, more towards 7:45.
We made it. Oh my gosh.
Thanks so much for following along on our journey today. If you did enjoy the video, if you made it here, first of all, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe go a long way to help our growth on YouTube, and we appreciate every single like and every single subscriber. We are gonna go get some food and go to bed. So proud of you.